Hey folks, we are not as good with the branding today.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna put like a
Little
on here,
patch. So we're coming to you guys live. We're trying to do this once, maybe twice a week, probably Wednesday mornings, so you know when to look for us to catch us live. But the other side of it is the internet saves everything forever, so you can always come back and watch us later.
for better or for worse.
And before we get into it, we're going to talk about gyms, your health, your safety, how it sort of pertains to all the relevant issues of 2020 and then getting into 2021. And I'm sure you're all thinking about what we're all thinking about, which has been the big thing of 2020. But before we get into all that, please like, share, comment any questions that you may have. That is always very helpful for us. So, what are we talking about?
The big thing you said was aliens.
Aliens.
If you missed that story, you're not paying attention. But
Yes.
we're not talking about that. We're talking about the pandemic that's going on, and I guess sort of the air of uncertainty, of doubt, of all that stuff when it comes to gyms, academies, places like that. So I think that one of the things that they came out early and said was that your health is important when it comes to combating this thing. And that goes for anything: the cold, the flu, stomach bugs. Like the better physical shape that you're in, the better mental shape that you're in, the better that your body's going to stave off these things. Or if it gets it, the better it's going to fight it, right? So if your endocrine system is functioning, if your metabolism is strong, if you feel good about yourself, and you're in a really good spot in your life, then you're just going to be a stronger form to fight this virus or to fight a bacterial infection or anything like that. It's pretty well known, right?
Yeah, and there are aspects of our health that we cannot control. They might be hereditary or genetic aspects. They might be, things that just sort of have infiltrated our body, and we think of that as like the big C, right? And that's not COVID, that's cancer.
Right.
And yes, there are things that we can do to prevent it, but sometimes, it's one of the most devastating diseases or illnesses, and we just don't know why.
Right.
But there are so many things that we can control with our health, and one thing that being part and primarily a martial arts facility, even though it's a gym, primarily it's about martial arts training, and we think about self-defense. What is self-defense, or learning how to fight? It's about preserving your life. So superficially, we think of it as like, okay, somebody's trying to punch me, kick me, mug me. I have to defend myself and my family. But as we talked about last week, right, as is in our Dragon Gym precepts, what number is it? Number 3, build a body to withstand any threat. And those threats are also threats to our health in the sense of our wellness or illness that we may have. So take the coronavirus thing out of it, is the better shape you're in, you're not overweight, you're exercising regularly, you're getting your heart rate up a few times a week, you're eating right, you're sleeping right, you're going to be better off, better prepared to fight off communicable diseases in general.
Right. And that's not to say that you're not going to get them, right? So do you remember Jack LaLanne?
I do.
So I used to watch his infomercials when I was like a kid. I remember people, so he had like a juicer, right? Mm-hmm. And he's saying that's, he was saying that was his secret to having this long and fulfilled life. But we all know that Jack LaLanne started the juicer when he was like in his 70s, right? What was his true secret was that he exercised his entire life. And in his book that he said that, the secret to his mental acuity into his late 80s, the secret to, staving off all these diseases and stuff like that was the fact that he was constantly moving. He was always moving. His blood was pumping. He was always, in shape. He was in recovery mode. He took care of himself. And diet is a huge part of it, right? Like, sometimes, like, I lift so that I can eat.
Which might
right?
not be the healthiest relationship.
Not at all. But, it's like sometimes I do that because I know that my body is going to be able to burn the calories that I'm going to have. But then also, it changes the relationship that you have with food. But if you're exercising and you're eating healthy, that's just like now you're cooking with gas. So, to be able to get to the gym, but like, let's talk about those concerns of people right now. It's like, I'm nervous about going to the gym. There's people here. There's all this stuff going on. How do we deal with that?
So, we don't necessarily know what's going on in people's minds. What are their fears? What are their reservations about coming to the gym, in 2020? And for that matter, we don't really know what's stopping people from walking through that door any year, any day, any week, right?
Sure.
There's so many things going on. Well, here's what we do know. So we went back and looked at our records a little bit. And what was the number? So we were talking yesterday, and we said, oh man, there has to have been about 4,000 to 5,000 visits or check-ins to Dragon Gym since we reopened after the lockdowns.
June 25th.
June 25th or 26th, I think was the Monday.
June 26th.
Right? And, I had a Rain Man moment and said, there's no way it was 4,000 or 5,000. It had to be way more than that. So we went back and looked at the records. It's more like 18,000 check-ins in the last couple of months, which is a big number, right? We have, and that's only in the Exton Gym, right? So we have about 10,000 square feet of space. So it's not a ton of people, and it's not a huge density of people. But we've had no cases contracted from inside the gym. Zero. So part of it is this, right? So it's this, flip side of what's causality and what's correlation of data. So the people coming in and out of gyms regularly. So okay, let's take an aside before I talk about correlation and causality. Let's talk about a larger sample size and much bigger numbers.
Is this the
Lifetime Fitness?
Lifetime Fitness.
Lifetime Fitness has had over 3 million check-ins. 3 million check-ins.
In
and,
6 months or so, I think.
Right? And amongst all their members, all their staff, about 300 known cases of coronavirus. And not necessarily those cases contracted inside the gym. So it's probably less than that. Out of 3 million check-ins or visits.
Right.
So from a statistical perspective, looking at that, it's like you're very low risk from getting this thing, right? But here's the other side of it. So let's get back to that idea of causation or correlation. Are the people that are going to gyms, whether they're Dragon Gym or Lifetime Fitness or one of these other places, sort of self-selecting to not be sick in a way? Meaning, the people that go to the gym are already, to a degree, sold on the idea that your health is in some way derived from your fitness.
Correct.
Right? So by health, we're talking about like, are you sickly or not? And fitness is like, are you in shape or not? Right? So those people that are sold and convinced and taking the behaviors in their life that say there is probably a line between my fitness and my health are less likely to get sick. That's the point.
And that's what the data show.
And that's
that's
what the data is implying.
That's what the data is implying.
Yeah.
So we cross that bridge. Let's assume now that you're comfortable going to a gym, whether it's this gym or another gym, or you're watching this somewhere in the country. Like this is this is the time of year where people forfeit months because of days. And what I mean by that is
right.
They're like, so I'm coaching somebody now on just improving their relationship with food, trying to lose a little bit of weight, get healthy. And one of the things that this person said was, November is going to be hard because I'm going to visit somebody and because of Thanksgiving. I said, okay, well, when are you going to visit somebody? They said, next weekend. Okay, so I said, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? No, Saturday, Sunday. Okay.
2 days.
2 days. Thanksgiving. 1 day.
1 day.
3 days, forfeit 30 days. Christmas. People do this in the holidays as well. Okay, well, I'll start this thing after the holidays. Okay, so let's take Thanksgiving out of it, those 3 days. Now we're talking about Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And let's lump in New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, right? So now that's another 30 days of stopping, getting into this routine of discipline, of health, of improving your life because of 4 days, right? So we're no longer allowed to make that excuse, and we're no longer allowed to accept that excuse, right? So let's assume now that you are ready to get in shape and you're ready to do something like this. You're comfortable going to a gym. Like, what the hell do they do? Never really done this before. Maybe I go on trail walks, or I used to be an athlete in high school. Like, I'm nervous about this.
Mm-hmm.
What's the step? What's the next step?
The step is getting started, period. Is you just have to get moving, right? So we talk about this idea of inertia all the time. And inertia meaning like an object at rest likes to stay at rest. An object in motion likes to stay in motion. And the same is true for humans. Is once you get moving, you're more likely to keep moving, right? And by moving, we mean on track for fitness.
Mm-hmm.
And once you stop, once you get out of the routine, or if you never had it in the first place, it's very, very difficult to get going.
And this goes for people that are currently exercising
That's
as well,
right.
because, all right, sorry about that, got a call in there. So
Phones are ringing. People want to come to the gym.
look at that. So we have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, let's call it as well, right? So a lot of the people that are training now are going to take those 4 days. Guess what Monday's going to be? Monday's going to be an internal battle with themselves going, oh boy,
Oh man,
really-
I'm tired. I got to do this.
I
gotta
really
do
ate a
that.
lot of stuff. Tuesday's going to really hurt, right? So whether you're doing something at home, where you're going to do like the open workout that we have, or, don't let that inertia stop. Like, that'll even stop things that are already in motion. Just take a few days off. It's a bear to get back.
Yeah. So this time of year, this goes for people that are sort of already in a program of some sort, and people that are new or thinking about starting a program of some sort, is we talk about goal setting, right? And typically it goes something like this. It's New Year's, and I'm going to set these goals. And the goals are typically a very desirable outcome of what you want, right? So let's say it's, martial arts is your thing. You're going to come in here and be like, I want a black belt. That might, depending on the martial art, take anywhere from 4 to 10 years. Let's say weight loss is the goal. I want to lose 10, 20 pounds. Let's say strength is the goal. I want to deadlift 500 pounds. These are very desirable outcomes, but they're also very lofty. And that in itself is two things. One, it's very intimidating, which makes it even harder to get started. And number two, when your threshold of success is too high, it makes it very easy to fail. Mm-hmm. So it's like, there's no way I was gonna deadlift 500 pounds this year. So you don't end up doing anything at all, right? So we get into this mode of ambitious goal setting, which means getting from A to Z. But really what we need to focus on is getting from A to B, and then B to C, and so on and so forth. And then what we need to know is like, well, how do I get from A to B? So there's two things that are important. One is the goal, and the other is sort of the guardrails or the guideline to get to the goal, right? So we were talking last night, and it's my goal, if I have to go somewhere, I'm driving from home to Dragon Gym, my goal is to get to Dragon Gym in one piece, right? But the guidelines is I have to stay between the yellow line and I have to stay between the white line on the road. That's the guideline, so that I don't crash into anybody and nobody crashes into me and destroys my progress, right? So if I'm only thinking in my car, oh, I got to get to Dragon Gym and drive in a straight line, I'm going to crash into something or someone or run off the road. So focus on staying within the guidelines once you know what B is, right? So the lofty goal might be, oh, we want to make 10 Dragon Gyms, right? But that's Z. B is just get to work.
So I think like that comes down to like household solidarity. So like one of the things that we used to be told a lot of was if you have a goal, like tell someone that you care about in your house. Like, you know, I'll give you for instance, like I was losing weight a year and a half ago for a competition and I needed to cut, I think it was like 15 pounds. And I told my wife, I'm like, I need your help because my wife has a habit of bringing home some really good stuff, right? And kind
Delicious.
So
Goodies.
she was like, that's fine. And she just started like donating stuff to the pantry. If she saw me eating something that I wasn't supposed to be eating, she'd smack it out of my hand. So like use the people around you to help you. Hey, look, I want to start learning martial arts and I want to go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week. If they see you sitting on your butt on the couch, like, hey, I thought you told me that you wanted to get off the couch and let's go. Right? So using people around you as your guidelines to get you to the goal is something that a lot of people don't do for number one, because if they fail, they have no knowledge of it and they have no accountability of it. Mm-hmm. And 2, they just don't want to hear it. Right?
Right.
They don't want to hear it. So use those people around you to help you get to those goals. Here's what I would say. You wanna get started on something, whether it's getting stronger, feeling better in your skin, losing weight, or learning how to defend yourself, like go to the gym, get yourself a membership. Then 2 is your diet is going to have a huge part in your success, not only like what it does to you physically, but also what it does to you mentally. When you get on a roll of eating clean, healthy foods, it makes you feel incredibly proud and it makes you feel incredibly good, right? So what I would say is forget the macros, forget the micros, forget all that stuff. Here's what you need to do. Eliminate sugar from your diet, refined sugars, and eat clean, whole, earth-grown, nutrient-rich foods for every meal. It's simple, right?
That's it.
Quantities, okay, we'll deal with that later. But for right now, you're eliminating sugar, which is absolutely toxic for you. It makes you gain weight. It contributes to disease. Get rid of it. You don't need it. 2, eat earth-grown, nutrient-rich foods for every meal. Vegetables, meats, if you're vegan, that's fine, vegetarian, but earth-grown, nutrient-rich foods. Make sense? That's easy.
So
Easy thing to do.
this is what we're talking about, getting from A to B, right? So, we talk to people all the time, I'm following this diet, it's a macro diet. I'm following this diet, it's a no-carb diet. This diet's a high-fat, this thing. And I have to be under this, and I'm weighing my food, and I'm doing a journal. Like, all that stuff is good and it works. But now we're at like L.
Right.
Get to A to B is very simple. It's like, eat this, not that.
Yeah.
Is really what we need to get down to. So we actually have that list for you. If you're interested in it, comment below and we'll send it over to you.
Yeah.
And just put in the comments, I want the list, eat this, not that. And we'll message it to you or we'll figure out a download link or something, but get started. Get healthy. There is a line between your fitness and your health. You want to stay safe, learn how to fight. You want to stay safe from disease, learn how to fight. Because it gets you healthy in the process.
Of course it does.
Right?
Yep.
Gets you fit in the process.
So one of the things that I read a book by this guy David Goggins. It's pretty famous now, called Can't Hurt Me. And one of the things that he said was people would work for diets, or they would set up things for fitness. Whenever you had that conversation in your head, start it at that moment. If it was a Thursday, start on Thursday or Friday. If it was a Saturday, start Saturday or Sunday. Don't ever wait till Monday, because you just started this entire goal setting process and this journey with procrastination, right? It's Thursday, I'm definitely going to start at Monday. do it. As soon as you make that decision in your head, do it now.
Just get started right away.
That's it.
Right
And
away.
If you guys need any help, we're always here for you. Reach out to us directly. Shoot us a message on social media. Or if you're a part of Dragon Gym, find us in the gym. We'd love to chat with you.
We're always here.
See you guys.
Take care.